What do I mean by when I say hardships defining us? Well, to describe that, I think I'm going to stick with the theme of cancer one more time. Because around the same time period, when I was dealing with this information, you know, that period of going from an otherwise healthy person to learning that you have a fatal disease, I began to think about something that might seem trivial, but maybe it's something that all of you have experienced. How was I going to share this information? Was I going to tell the world at large? Was I going to tell my friends, all my family? What was I going to do? I began to think about that. And of course, I was going to tell my wife and those very close to me. But I had serious doubts about whether I wanted to tell the world at large. Did I want to tell the fellow lawyers I worked with? Did I want them to know that I had cancer? I played tennis for a number of years with a similar group of guys. Did I want them to know that I was a cancer patient, that I was going through chemotherapy? And others, regardless of the social relationship, did I want the world to know? I made the choice that I didn't want the world to know. At that time, my thinking was that I didn't want those lawyers that I worked with to look at me any differently. You know, their pity and sympathy might have felt great, but I didn't want them to look at me differently. The same is true for the guys I played tennis with. You know, I didn't want them to look across the court and treat me any differently because I was going through chemotherapy. I still wanted to be Kirk, the guy they played tennis with. And the same was true for everyone, regardless of the relationship, social or professional. I didn't want to be looked at differently. And looking back and looking at how I view hardship now, I didn't realize it at the time, but I wasn't letting the hardship of cancer define me. I wasn't letting others put that label on me by viewing me through that prism. I didn't want to be seen like that. I didn't want to be defined by that. I wasn't going to accept that definition, regardless of how good the sympathy or pity might have felt. And looking back, I can see that that allowed me to kind of compartmentalize my hardship. My cancer was compartmentalized to those days I was sitting in the chair receiving chemotherapy. It was compartmentalized to those days that I was dealing with the after effects of chemotherapy and the medications. It was in this little kind of closet. And when those things weren't going on to the rest of the world, I could keep moving forward. I could keep writing. I could keep talking. I could keep lawyering. Whatever I was doing, I could keep doing it without that definition. Then as my treatment went on, about a little past the midway point, I had a test with great results that showed that my cancer, the treatments were working, in essence. That there were indications that I was going to survive cancer. And it was then and only then when I decided, okay, I can start letting the whole world know that I have cancer. And I didn't think about it this way at the time, but I was willing to let the whole world know then because the definition was different. The definition wasn't related to the hardship. The definition was related to hope. The definition was related to hope that I was going to be a cancer survivor. Future cancer survivor was a definition that I was willing to accept. Not cancer patient, not guy going through chemo. And I was willing to accept that definition, not only because it was one of hope for me and how people looked at me, but hopefully for others. For whatever tiny bit of a public figure I was, if that meant anything to anybody, I wanted to give them that hope. I wanted to give them that definition, that they were a future survivor as opposed to a cancer patient.